Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Layla, and on this channel I talk about personal development and my life here in Seoul, South Korea. In today's video we are going to talk about money. Before 2018, I was not a good steward of money. I was reckless with it. I also had a scarcity mindset. And the irony of it all is that whenever I had money in my possession, I would feel the need to blow it. Needless to say, my financial situation wasn't good at all. So in today's video, I want to go ahead and share with you 3 financial principles that I have learned. Once I implemented them, I was able to build a solid foundation on which I started my personal finance journey. If you are interested in knowing more, keep on watching. I want to preface this talk by assuming that the people I refer to are people who have disposable income. I am not talking about people who have to go into debt or who struggle financially to survive on a day-to-day basis. With that in mind, let's move on to principle number 1. When you have disposable income, meaning that the money that you earn is more than the money that you spend, you can save the rest. You can put the rest aside. Most people would actually pay all their bills and all their expenses, and whatever is left would then be saved. The issue with proceeding that way is that the money you save every month would be inconsistent at best or non-existent in the worst case scenario. To avoid this pitfall, the pay yourself first concept in personal finance was created. It refers to prioritizing saving and investing a portion of your income before you go ahead and pay your bills or pay your expenses. Now, depending on your financial situation, that money put aside can be allocated towards debt repayment. It could be for your emergency fund. It could be money saved for a particular project, or you can just go ahead and invest that money. And because you plan your future by doing everything I just stated earlier, this method is coined paying yourself first, taking care of yourself first. Let's move on and talk about a practical way to pay yourself first. Number 1, obviously, you need to determine how much money you want to set aside every month. And number 2, you have to do it immediately. A story I told myself to switch my mindset around it was to consider that money as another tax. For example, you have your gross pay and then taxes are taken out, benefits are taken out, payroll deductions are taken out. How about this saving amount being one of those taxes taken out? Taxes. And the reason why I refer to it that way is because if you do it this way, you're not going to miss the money. The money is just going to disappear and you won't even have to think about it. It's not even going to show up in your budget because the money is gone. Now, if you lack the discipline and you say, oh, Layla, I don't know if I can do it, you can actually go to the source and make it happen there. Option number 1, you can talk to your employer. I'm pretty sure they wire your pay in a certain bank account. So you can tell them, listen, I have a second bank account. It's my saving account. How about every month, instead of giving 100%, instead of wiring 100% to this account, how about you do 80% here and 20% in this saving account? That way, again, you don't see the money because it doesn't show up in your checking account. Option number 2, if your employer cannot do that, you can actually do some automatic transfer. So in your bank account, like your checking account, you can set up automatic transfer that every month a certain amount is taken from this account and wired to your saving account. That way, again, it's done for you. You don't have to think about it. No more excuses. This is obviously my method of doing things. If you have a better method, or if you just want to go ahead in the comment section and share with us what are the ways you're saving money? How do you put yourself first? If you have any tricks or any tips, I would really appreciate reading about them. Let's move on to number 2. Lifestyle creep, aka lifestyle inflation, refers to the gradual increase in your spending and your living expenses as your income increases over time. It manifests itself when you start adopting a higher standard of living, by getting yourself like a better housing, better car, and spending more money on non-essential items and expenses. Lifestyle creep can potentially have some damages, such as increase your debt, decrease your saving, put in jeopardy your long-term financial goals. So obviously the wise thing to say would be careful. Everything that you earn that's extra, put it aside. Do not increase your lifestyle, stay put, keep focused and all that stuff. It sounds good in theory, but it is not realistic. So you're not going to hear that from me, and here's why. Before making Korea my ultimate goal, so before 2018, I was making good money, but I was living paycheck to paycheck. I was financing my lifestyle using credit cards, and it was easier because I couldn't see the money. I was just swiping the card, and all I had to do was pay like $40 a month. And mind you, I'm a finance major. I took Personal Finance 101 as an elective, so I knew that what I was doing was... But again, it goes to show that your mindset can influence your life. And my mindset at the time was YOLO. You only live once, okay? Who cares? Just do what you like. The problem now is lifestyle creep combined with a YOLO mindset is a very dangerous thing, because you feel entitled to the things that you want but that you cannot afford. I mean, so if you are in the current mindset of you only live once, and I'm not saying that it's good or bad, but if that's your mindset at the moment, you need to be very careful, and you need to ask yourself the question, why do I need things for validation? And maybe do some inner work, because that could potentially cause you problems down the line. What made me snap out of this mindset was that decision to move to Seoul. For me, it is the catalyst for so many changes in my life. I could never thank this decision enough. It's like the best decision I've ever taken. And I think that's the reason why Seoul is treating me so well, because she's like, girl, I know what you've been through to get here. So here, take me, enjoy me. I mean, I'm joking, but I actually really do believe that. When I look at 2020 and now, my standard of living in Korea has definitely increased. Therefore, it'll be hypocritical of me to come here and tell you not to succumb to the phenomenon of lifestyle creep. However, the increase in my lifestyle has brought me joy, and it is still in conjunction with my long-term financial goals and the hustling season I am currently in. To me, lifestyle creep combined with I deserve this mentality is actually very powerful, because you get to reward yourself for all the hard work put into generating the money in the first place. So to me, I see this as a reward. Therefore, I deserve this because I worked for it. Something that I've also noticed is how I spend that extra money. It's never on things, it's usually on experiences. It could be taking classes like dance classes every month. It could be buying myself flowers because I like the look of it. It could be getting better grocery, better food, salmon, for example. So little things like that that bring me joy. If tomorrow I need to drop everything and become very frugal for an extended period of time to accomplish a very particular goal, I have no problem doing that at all. Why? Because my lifestyle doesn't define me, it's here to serve me. That's the kind of mentality I have. So to close this chapter, my advice to you would be mindful of the kind of attitude or mindset you have at the time this lifestyle creep is happening to you, and do what's best for you by keeping in mind your long-term financial goals. All right, let's move on to number 3. We are not talking about generating millions here. I know nothing about that. So we're going to keep things very simple, basic, low level, which is basically where I am today. The principle is that if you want to have more money, saving your way through life is not going to be enough. Because saving comes from a defined amount of money that you already have, and you're just taking a portion out of it. And by doing that, you are limiting your saving potential. So in order to save more money, you need to increase the income pool. So the principle is this: in order to have more money, you need to generate more money. If we go back to saving accounts, so you know how like there's inflation every year. It used to be 3%, 5%. Now in 2020, 2021, 2022, it was just like crazy because of everything that's happening in the world. But usually there is an inflation rate, so things costing more every year. However, your saving account, for some reason, especially for those major banks, would give you an interest rate that's below 0.05 even. It's insane. Mine doesn't do that because I did some research, and I think you should too. Anyway, so if you were to always put all the money that you save in the bank account, in a saving account, you're not going to earn anything. Your money will just depreciate, and no one wants that. So the key here is, instead of focusing your effort on going frugal and limiting yourself and saving the money and putting it away in the bank account that's not going to generate more, what you need to do is find a way to make more money. So how do you go about making more money? I feel like there are 3 different ways. Number 1, you can get a second job. If you work a 9 to 5, that means you have your evening and your weekends available. So you can work in the service industry as a waitress, a waiter, or someone who is a clerk in, I don't know, a clothing store or whatnot. That is basically trading your time for money, and that money would most likely be minimum wage, but it's better than nothing, so you can start there. That would give you extra cash that can go towards whatever project you have. Option number 2, if you have a skill that you can monetize, that would be the sign for you to start a side hustle. That side hustle can be online or can be in person, it doesn't really matter, but at least you might not necessarily trade your time for money if it's a service that you provide. And I like the term moonlighting. I think it's pretty, and it basically talks about someone who has a 9 to 5 but also a side hustle that generates money. That side hustle obviously cannot cover the person's living expense, but if more time and effort are put into it, it can turn into something bigger. So yeah, moonlighting could be a second thing that you can do. Number 3 is to be a full-time entrepreneur. Now, this is a bit tricky because before you embark on like quitting your job and just working on your entrepreneurial venture or whatnot, you need to have a proof of concept. You need to make sure that customers are actually interested in your product and it's not in your head. And you need to obviously already have a strategy. You don't necessarily need money depending on what you are offering, especially if it's a service. But yeah, I would be cautious about going full-time entrepreneur. I feel like if you have an idea, you should moonlight first, aka have your 9 to 5 and do the thing on the side. And then if you have a proof of concept, you have customers and you know how much money you can generate, then go full-time entrepreneur. So these are the 3 things that you can do. Personally, there was a point of time where I had 2 jobs, but I quickly switched to moonlighting. So even when I was in Boston, I had a side hustle, which was to teach French to kids as a tutor, and then also be a conversation partner. And I was also a podcast host. Yeah, I forgot about that part. It paid good money. Anyway, so that's how I was able to generate money on top of my salary and my bonuses, because I felt like, you know what, I have this free time available, why not generate more to go towards my goal? So these are 2 things. Leave the entrepreneurial thing on the side for now. These are 2 things that you can consider. Sometimes knowing is not enough. You actually have to implement things for them to make a difference in your life. And I remember being aware of those principles, but because of the mindset that I had at the time, I wasn't taking them seriously. And also I had no financial goal, therefore I was just drifting aimlessly. When the goal of moving to Korea became my top priority, I realigned my lifestyle to match my purpose. And I firmly believe that unless you have a very specific financial goal, it's going to be very hard for you to undo all those bad financial habits, because you won't have that catalyst that would provoke change in you. As human beings, we get very comfortable in uncomfortable situations. So unless there's something that pushes us outside of our comfort zone, nothing is going to happen. So my video is here. Whenever that catalyst happened to you, then come back and watch it again, and just to see the things to keep in mind when you embark on your personal finance journey. All right, thank you so much for watching the video. I have more content on my channel that you can, you know, binge watch if you feel like it. And also share in the comment section, what do you think of what I just said? What is your opinion? What are the things that you're struggling with out of the 3? And yeah, let's discuss that. In the meantime, I would say take very good care of yourselves, and you will see me in the next video.